From start to finish, here's how I did this portrait. As usual, I took a number of pictures and settled on this one. I felt he should be standing up a little straighter, so I rotated the picture about 5 degrees. Of course, the wall now looked like it had been in an earthquake, but I knew I could fix that in the painting. Projecting the photo right onto the canvas lets me make a very accurate rough pencil tracing. This saves me a lot of time rather than sketching by eye and making a lot of drafting errors that I have to fix later. I know some people consider this cheating, but I've never had a client who's paying me big bucks to get a good likeness complain about it. And by the way, as you can see, I straightened up the wall. I'm going to move the painting over so you can see what I'm looking at as I paint. Most demos don't do that, and it always frustrates me, so I won't do that to you. I like to get the canvas covered as soon as possible, with values and colors that are at least close to what they will be in the finished painting. As you will see here, I was going to go for a warm background to contrast against the cool color of his sweater. But I changed my mind, and later when I did the wooden wall, I went for something closer to the actual color of the background in the photo, and threw in the hat. Painting in oil gives you kind of an undo feature like you have with a computer. You don't like what you did? Paint it over. The sweater was the next large area to get covered, but it seemed like a lot to do in one sitting, so I broke it up into separate areas. Actually, I was going to do the chest and both arms, but I got tired and quit on his left arm. In the next sitting, I finished that arm and tweaked some of the other parts that I had already done. Finally, on the third day, I could finish the sweater. It was a lot of work because of all the folds, but well worth it for the look of the painting. Okay, now there was enough of the canvas covered that I could get a feel for the values and colors in the face, knowing that I would come back later for some final adjustments. I wasn't too critical of the colors just yet. My concern here was just to get the values right and the colors close. Not much showing of the hands, but they still took a lot of time, making sure they would match the skin tones of the face. I wouldn't want them to look like somebody else's hands. The mouth or muzzle area is usually toughest for me, and maybe it is for a few others. So I'm going to show this live. It took about 13 minutes for this area, so I'll have to speed some of this up to get the whole video into the 10-minute YouTube time limit. In painting the mustache and beard, I'm not trying to paint every single hair. I'm looking at the overall value of the shapes in the photo that I'm painting and trying to match it. The darker areas go first. Then I come back with bits of gray or white that kind of represent the look that I see in the photo. You'll notice that the overall value of the mustache is much darker than the overall value of the beard. I want to be sure to maintain that relationship. These little extra strong shapes help determine the values of the lightest light and darkest dark on the painting. It's this spread from dark to light that gives a painting its overall contrast. If the darkest dark in the whole painting is only about an 80 or 90% gray, and the lightest light is not really a full white, then the painting will have a softer look. This can work well for women and kids' portraits. In this case, I wanted a strong, powerful, contrasty look for a man. Remember, I'm not trying to paint every single hair. Look at the photo. The left side of the beard is so bright you can hardly see any detail, while the right side has a bunch of tiny black and white dabs of color that give it an overall gray value. If you squint your eyes when you look at the photo, you can see this overall value of that left side of the beard. I keep adding little black and white dabs and squinting until I match this gray value. I'll slow down to normal speed here so you can see the actual brush strokes in real time. This is not rocket science, it's just plain old observation and logic. Here I'm throwing in a bunch of skin color dabs for the skin showing through the beard. The line where the lips meet is very critical, so I take some extra care to get it just right. Just a tiny curve up or down can make your client look happy or sad. It doesn't take much. Now here's something I do a lot of. I'll throw in a color that's close to what I want, then add to it to get the color and value I'm looking for. I'm mixing right on the canvas, so I can see how well the shape I'm painting looks next to the surrounding shapes. This is easier for me than trying to mix the exact color I want on my palette and having it look just right when I get it on the painting. Then a little blending makes it fit right in. Now that I've darkened the lips, you can see where the lip line can be strengthened again. This goes back to understanding how the value and color of every shape on a painting relates to all the shapes around it. Change one, and the relationship to all the others will change too. Little extra length on the beard here, and that should do it. Well, okay, maybe a few more touches here and there. And here's the finished painting. I've exaggerated the colors a little from what I saw in the photo just to try to make it look better than the photo. Sorry if that offends some of the purists out there. Can't please everybody, you know. Check out my website at this address. There are a bunch of samples of my work and information on how to get my DVD called How I Did It, which goes into great detail about how I paint. Keep painting. It's great fun.